you know, sleeping with his fans, that's fucked up. Like, don't fuck your fans. Pretty simple, easy rule. Don't fuck your fans. Just across the board. That could solve so many people who are like, yeah, but there's all this like gray area in here. I don't know whether I should. No, just don't.
Within the first 3 weeks, they managed to accumulate over 7 million views across various playthroughs, and quickly hit the 150,000 subscriber milestone. By the end of their first year, they accumulated 1 million followers and garnered a total of 197 million views. Once the ball started moving, they decided to publish multiple videos every single day, and employ John's longtime friend and creative partner Barry Kramer to work as their editor. Though Game Grumps was never the most popular Let's Play channel, the audience they had cultivated was dedicated, to say the least. Fans began producing Game Grumps themed animations and even song remixes out of sheer appreciation for their work, and all seemed to be going well, until the constant stream of content was abruptly stopped on June 15th, 2013. Due to quote-unquote circumstances beyond their control, the channel began uploading only one episode a day, a stark contrast from what fans had gotten used to. Almost immediately, they began to speculate something had gone awry. Their suspicions would be confirmed 10 days later on June 25th. Out of nowhere, it was announced that John would be leaving the show to focus on his own channel. This naturally upset fans because John didn't and still doesn't upload frequently, so they'd be going from daily doses of him to nothing. The goodbye video was also—
So it had nothing to do with the Destiny debate? Like that wasn't a factor at all? He just wanted to go do his own thing. I guess, well, if that timeline syncs up, he hadn't even debated Destiny yet. So that's not actually a part of it. Doesn't JonTron own Normal Boots though? Doesn't he own like 5 or 6 massive channels like the one on GameFAQs, which I've actually always enjoyed. JonTron turning out to be like a xenophobic asshole was a shitty time for me. That was my reckoning, because I was like, oh, I actually enjoyed JonTron and Normal Boots and some of that stuff, you know? Allegedly, John was abusive towards Aaron's wife. Ah, well, that's horrible. I was hoping they were going to get to Dan. I just wanted some background because I'm not a huge Game Grumps person. I didn't watch a lot of Game Grumps. I'm not totally familiar with Dan, but more recently, thanks to all of you, chat, all of you lovely, wonderful people, I was getting introduced into Ninja Sex Party and their music, which was quite wonderful. And I know a lot of people here have personal stories. I saw What's Bothering Me Today, and some other people be like, hey, like this one hits really hard because Dan was a very important person in my life and got me through hard times. And like I said, I completely understand all that. I have also had my heart broken by heroes that I had formed parasocial relationships with.
Guys, I'm really sorry. I love you all. I can't do it anymore.
What?
I gotta throw in the towel. Ross, I'm sorry about that thing that happened one time.
Oh, everyone's like, I have no idea who these people are. Okay, so quick primer. Game Grumps, very, very popular gaming channel on the internet, loses JonTron. JonTron leaves the Game Grumps as one of the co-hosts and is replaced by Dan Avidan. Now, Dan Avidan is incredibly well-liked, accepted. He's known as Handsome Dan and becomes beloved in his own right. He also comes from his own YouTube channel called Ninja Sex Party, where he makes music. And since he blew up through Game Grumps and blew up as a musician as well through Ninja Sex Party, I mean, we were just playing their songs not too long ago. I think maybe like 3 streams ago or something like that. We were playing their music.
I have you from much later in your life.
I think it was on Friday. Wow. So it was literally my last stream. I was like going through a whole bunch of Ninja Sex Party songs.
I know your hair is wild.
And I was like, yeah, it's good singing, fun visuals. You know, the kid from Stranger Things is in this one, and it just seems like generally good vibes in a cesspool of YouTube drudgery filled with prank bros and reaction Andes and other useless drivel. I was like, this is a welcome change. I like the level of creativity and fun and honesty, and just seems like good vibes all around. So obviously it's a bit of a surprise that the story came out, but this story, apparently for people who have been longtime fans, it's not even that big of a shock, because some people are like, well, this is something that's kind of been a specter that's haunted Dan throughout his career. All right, so headline. Dan Avidan of Game Grumps accused of grooming underage fans. Logging onto Twitter today, you may have wondered why Game Grumps was trending. Did Aaron post another bad take? The reality is much more grim. As the secondary host of Game Grumps, the lead singer of Ninja Sex Party, Dan Avidan is now facing new allegations of abuse as new documents surface suggesting sexual misconduct. If you're wondering, the Aaron posts, like, again, this is one of those stories where it's like, this part is really shitty, but just so you know, they also have monstrously huge compilations of them saying the N-word frequently, and that wasn't a thing. Like, that no one was ever like, oh, is this one of the reasons why people are angry at the Game Grumps? Because all this surfaced. Had nothing to do with it. Posted to the Rant Grumps subreddit on Sunday, March 21st, the claim comes from a woman who wishes to remain anonymous who contacted the poster wanting to share her story. According to her, she privately contacted Avidan in 2013. Avidan would have been 34 at the time, as an underage fan, and engaged in conversations with him. As time went on, once she became of legal age, these conversations turned sexual, and eventually led to her meeting them backstage at a Game Grumps live show where sexual activity occurred. A couple of weeks later, all contact from Dan ceased. These claims are seemingly corroborated by a screenshot of a conversation she had with Dan Avidan, where he sends her the video expressing his sexual intentions.
So I just got to my room at the resort in Mexico. Girl, look at this jacuzzi tub. Oh, it's got water jets that shoot out of the seats. They got fucking seats. Oh man, 2 seats in fact. Wish you were here to take up that other one and then crawl onto the first one so we could fuck in this. Anyway.
So when I originally posted about this, a lot of people got upset because they were like, she's 22. He's, 38 or something? She's 22, he's 38. This is sex between 2 consenting adults. Which, in and of itself, if that was it isolated, I would completely agree with you, okay? If he's a famous YouTuber and he just has sex with a 22-year-old, that's totally normal. If he's doing it and they happen to be a massive fan of his, yeah, that's problematic. But still, it's like, it's not like the end of the world. I don't think people should fuck fans at all. But the accusations are much worse. This is a story of apparently him starting contact with her when she's 17, so underage, and then maintaining a relationship or an online relationship for a while until she turned of age. And apparently it's a pattern. So there's a mass compilation of all of Dan's accusations that go all the way back. Like, this is one hell of a rabbit hole. The very first one, the Dan accusation master post, comes from a play. So Katie Schwartz, she used to be an employee of Game Grumps, made a play called Bad People. And the video recording of it is on YouTube. You can watch it. It's an hour and 12 minutes, so I'm not going to watch the whole thing.
I'm about to receive a pelvic exam supports Paul fucking Ryan! As I scramble to form a response to Dr. Abbas, whom I suddenly despise.
Now, the story, which is supposed to be a semi-autobiography by Katie Schwartz, tells the story of basically a team of people in which they were creating content, and there happens to be a man whose story syncs up dangerously closely with Dan's. As in, he starts contacting or is contacted by much younger fans than him, and then speaks to them through like online communication or whatever. And then once they become legal, has sexual encounters with them and then never talks to them again. It's kind of what the plot of this play was. And then everyone came out after the play had been released and once it got uploaded to YouTube. And all of a sudden everyone was like, oh shit, are you telling the story of the guy in Game? Is this the exact story one-to-one of that dude in Game Grumps? And then going back to this, recently, in wake of these allegations, Schwartz posted to her Instagram story, to be clear, Dan Avidan is a dangerous man and a predator. I won't answer more questions, but there it is, folks. Let me and my play writing speak for itself. So she just posted that. So I think that's a pretty strong confirmation that the play was about Dan and his activity that she experienced firsthand, having worked for Game Grumps. So there's that. And what's strange is everyone who's talked about this so far, I haven't heard people bring this up, but it seems like an important detail. Anyways, the chronicles, which go on for a really long time. So there's another rumor that apparently the person who's doing this is doing so for revenge. All right, let me bring up this as well. OP for the Dan Groomer post admits that the claims about Dan grooming someone at 17 are false. Because obviously, I think accusations in and of themselves, don't really condemn someone. You should believe all accusers, so accusers have a safe environment to be able to make their accusations. And before anything can be determined, though, we still need to see and hear the whole story. Okay, I'll just go through the master post while I wait and see if that comes up. So this was the original, this was way before any of this other Dan Avidan stuff came out. But anyways, so the person who had wrote the play, the one that I was just showing you, called Bad People. Not OP, but I can share my own experiences with Dan. I actually was involved with both Katie and Dan at overlapping points, so that girlfriend character is partially based on me. However, obviously Katie's pay is a work of fiction, an artistic license was taken. This all happened about 3 years ago, so I can't speak to anything since then. I met Dan at age 19, he was 35. And when we first slept together, I was 21, he was 37. Both of these times were at a convention. So yes, I was obviously a huge fan of him. I was a big enough fan of him to get a fan-related tattoo before we slept together, which he did know about and still thought it was a good idea to sleep with me, which, okay. He was incredibly emotionally abusive and gaslit me constantly, though I was under no illusion that we were in a relationship. He told me he loved me and said it often, and regularly told me that he wished we could be together and that if we lived closer, I would absolutely be his girlfriend. Days later, I would be admonished for being too clingy because he wasn't my boyfriend, and sometimes I felt like the person I saw in person and the person I texted were two different people. He gave me such emotional whiplash. He took advantage of the fact that I am bisexual and pointedly introduced me to other bisexual women he was sleeping with, all in their early 20s. When I called him out on the very obviously trying to set up threesomes and group sex, he would get offended and say that he just thought we would be good friends. The other girls I met were seriously brainwashed by him, even worse than I was. One of them was polyamorous and genuinely believed Dan to be her partner. When I told him this, he denied it and said that they were just friends, but seemed in no hurry to correct her delusion. Well, we all know how she is. She's a spaz, he said. I know he also tried to proposition Katie to have group sex with him. He would conveniently forget that she was gay several times, and she had to remind him over and over and over. I feel like he saw women with women as toys for him to use sexually rather than actual people with needs and feelings. He purposely preyed on damaged girls. I was struggling with an eating disorder at the time we were together, and all the other girls I met or heard of through him were incredibly fucked up with their own personal traumas. I simply can't believe this to be a coincidence. He liked taking broken girls and was able to feel like their hero or savior. He eventually ended things with me after I point blank asked if he would ever be monogamous, and he said things needed to be over because there's just too big of an age difference. His current girlfriend is younger than me. Hi. A million other tiny things aren't worth their individual bullet points. Any girl who was down for casual yet romantic, which was weird. Sex was cool. Any girl who displayed any sort of needs or had issues with being set up with group sex was clingy, crazy, needy, spaz. He would try to drop casual hints that I should leave his hotel room after we had sex, despite him saying that he loved me. And then if I point blank asked, so you want me to leave, he would vehemently deny it. And I told him I had an eating disorder. He went on this long emotional soliloquy about how much it meant to him that he trusted me enough to say that, then forgot about it when it came up again. He swore up and down I never told him. He tried to give me $10,000 to send me to a weird celebrity therapy program, etc. I mainly just want to share my own experiences to warn other young women who are fans of this guy. He knew that I was a huge fan in a vulnerable position, and he took advantage of the power dynamics to get what he wanted. Obviously, I know he's in a relationship now, but I have no idea if there are exceptions, or if he's still seen women behind Ashley's back. I just don't know the other women to get blinded by the charisma that he projected as this great guy image and end up hurt like I did. I had to get fucking EMDR PTSD treatments to get over this shit the guy put me through. There's a frequency apparently in the stories related to Dan about him suddenly like cutting off contact or ghosting people after he's had sex. Again, that in and of itself is shitty, like you're just being a dick, but that's totally fine. If you are ghosting people that you've had sex with, you know, all this kind of stuff, that's not what's really on trial here. What's on trial is what is being described as a pattern of forming emotional relationships with people who are, in some cases, enormous fans of you. I mean, if they have a fucking fan-related tattoo, yeah, there's a parasocial relationship there, to say the least. And then once they turn of age, him engaging in sexual contact with them. Grooming. So I've heard people on the internet also say that this doesn't count as grooming, and or people don't know what grooming is because it's an incredibly serious thing. So I wanted to go over a little bit about grooming, quickly talk about it from Rain, which I thought would be a pretty big resource on this. And obviously to anyone, maybe I'll put a warning sign at the bottom here because I am going to talk about it. I just didn't want to put it up initially because I wasn't trying to imply without evidence yet that Dan has been engaged in this before I had read the story or anything like that. but since I'm going to read about it, I can put this up. One tool common to those who sexually abuse kids is grooming, manipulative behavior that the abuser uses to gain access to the potential victim, coerce them to agree to the abuse, and reduce the risk of being caught. While these tactics are most often used against younger kids, teens and vulnerable adults are also at risk. Grooming can take place online or in person. It's usually employed by a family member or someone else in the victim's circle of trust, such as a coach, a teacher, a youth group leader, or others who naturally had some interaction with the victim. Though grooming can take many different forms, it is often following a similar pattern. Victim selection. Abusers often observe possible victims and then select them based on the ease of access to them or their perceived vulnerability. Getting access and isolating the victim. Abusers will attempt to physically or emotionally separate the victim from those protecting them and often seek out positions in which they have contact with the minors. Trust development and keeping secrets. Abusers often attempt to gain trust of the potential victims through gifts, attention, sharing secrets, and other things meant to make them feel like they have a caring relationship and train them that the relationship is secret. Man, I don't feel like I've been through this course since I was a really little kid, because I remember in school in Canada, we at one point got like a teacher did a whole course on this to like look out for people in your family who may be grooming you kind of information. Had a guy do that the same thing to me for years. It's very manipulative, love bomb, advantage pattern, makes you feel amazing, then disappear when things get too intimate. Yeah, that's a monstrous dick move, especially if you're using it to coerce sex out of people. Like, fuck you. Desensitization to touch and discuss. Like, if you want to be open up front, I'm just like, yeah, I just think you're attractive, let's fuck. And the other person's like, okay, cool. And then you do it, and both of you are like, yeah, I have no attachment to you. And you both go your separate ways. That's completely different than being like, baby, I'm in love with you. I genuinely love you. I love you so much. Can we express that through the act of love? You know, then what the fuck? You're just lying for sex? No, then you're a creep. Abusers will often start to touch a victim in ways that appear harmless, such as hugging, wrestling, and tickling, and then later escalate it to increasingly more sexual contact, such as massages and showering together. I mean, isn't this one pretty much just directly like assault? Abusers may also show the victim pornography or discuss sexual topics with them and introduce the idea of sexual contact. That was Michael Jackson's big thing. Attempt by abusers to make their sexual behavior seem natural, to avoid raising suspicion. For teens who may be closer in age to the abuser, it can be particularly hard to recognize tactics used in grooming. Be alert for signs in your teen that has a relationship with the adults that includes secrecy, undue influence or control, or pushes personal boundaries. Grooming behaviors are not only used to gain a victim's trust, but are often used to create an untrustworthy image and relationship with the family and the community. Child and teen sexual abusers are often charming, kind, and helpful. Exactly the type of behavior we value in friends and acquaintances. You don't need to be suspicious of everyone who's kind to your child. Most people are well-intentioned and trustworthy, but should you be on guard for that type of behavior, it is something like just a mirage, a way for the abuser to gain your trust and have more direct access to your child, and make it less like the child is believed to be speaking up about the abuse. You should also talk to your kids about the risks and boundaries and make sure they know to come to you if anyone crosses the line. Online grooming often involves adults making fake profiles and posing as children or teens in order to befriend someone and gain their trust. This can be the first step towards sexual abuse or online stalking or harassment. You can learn more from Internet Matters on how grooming occurs, or you can make a minor in your life safer from it. You can also find out more how to recognize warning signs of online grooming from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Rather than banning kids from going online, introducing more freedom as they get older, make sure they are tuned to the risks and comfortable talking to you about their experience. This is why this whole thing, if it turns out to be true, is so difficult, because like I don't see this as something that there would be warning signs for teens, right? Like to anything, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to them. Like if someone that they are a massive fan of is going to start having a contact with them through Instagram or anything, like that's like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. I won the lottery. Like this, you are my hero. You are my absolute hero, and you're just talking to me now. This is the coolest thing ever. Like it wouldn't be like, Mom, is this grooming? I don't know. That would not be like running through your head. You would just be like, how am I allowed to tell my friends? And then the groomer may be like, well, I prefer if you don't tell anyone about this conversation, because it might come back to hurt me. The whole stranger danger movement did create more anxiety in children than it did to protect them. If you turn everyone over, you don't know, into a danger, you live in a pretty scary world. Interesting. No, that makes sense. It's not like she wrote a sign saying I'm a sexual predator. He was the cool uncle. So it's often related to family members, but it's not exclusively related to family members, and it's often strangers doing it on the internet. But in this case, it's not always the case. Like these aren't absolutes, right? Predatory behavior. Again, there's not like a smoking gun definitive proof because of the anonymity of all these posts, right? The video, for example, The woman who gave permission to share the video she received from him, which anyone has watched Game Grumps or listened to Ninja Sex Party can refer it as indeed Dan Avidan. Yeah, no question. This most recent allegation follows a pattern of behavior long documented from other victims of Avidan's behavior. The Tumblr page, A Year of Dan, I'll go through it in a bit, contains a multitude of accusations from several women who shared similar encounters with Avidan. One woman who reached out to Avidan on Facebook after becoming a fan of Game Grumps wrote, "I've never regretted sex. I don't know what to do with the shame I feel as I age. Just why did I do it? Why did I feel I could do it? What was he offering me that I wanted to go on a bus and meet him in a hotel room in a gross city in a different country?" She added, "And then just to stop me because I'm so far away and he's so busy at what I'm doing with my life in comparison, we just lose touch in the end with people, and that's how life works. But what does that mean, like so many of us and so consistently? Who I am now and much of me was because of the people I've met, and I've met Dan. I don't know what to do with this person in my phone, if they are even there anymore, if I'm able to send them a message." Furthermore, a year ago, Avidan's former personal assistant and ex-friend Katie Schwartz released a play entitled Bad People. That's the one we were talking about. The play is based on the Me Too movement and chronicling her experiences with sexism and sexual abuse. One character within the play is named John, who's portrayed as a popular musician with a large internet following, and he seems to exhibit behavior that lines up with the accusations women have made against Avidan. While this is just a play, and it may be a work of fiction, Schwartz did characterize the play as an interview in Dixon Place as a vulnerable memoir and healing. And according to a Reddit post, a large chunks of the text used in the play were once part of a Tumblr blog she wrote in 2017. And then, yes, in the wake of these allegations, she pretty much made it crystal clear that the play was about Dan Avidan. Dan Avidan, good lord, were you at the Cards Against Humanity panel? That was madness. Yep, had 2 rum and cokes to get myself through it. Haha, so much yelling. It was a fun time though. Awesome. How are you feeling? Having a good time? Yes, it's been a fantastic weekend so far. How's yours going? It's wild. Finally got a little downtime in my room after 2 days of running around. So grateful. Got big plans for tonight? You blocked Dan. Just gonna chill out for a few hours and then crash. Every time I leave my hotel room, I get mobbed, but if you can keep it on the super down low, you're welcome to come and hang out for a little bit. I can do that. Where are you staying? Cool. I'm not gonna say. Of course, I'll let you over when I'm heading over. Actually, it's a hotel room that's not in existence anymore. I'm at the JW Marriott room 2507. Please, I beg you, keep that private. If anyone finds out where I'm staying, I'm done for. This was like 3 years ago. Of course, I'll let you know when I'm heading over. Hooray, thank you. User from the Reddit posts. He fell asleep facing away from me. I left in the morning. Oh, we talked about plans to meet in the nearby state to my own at one of NSP's shows. I decided to go to the show, Ninja Sex Party, because I felt it was very groupie-ish and weird to me, but I agreed to meet up with him that night and spend the night with him. I did. It was a combination of sweet and awkward, and we slept together. He pulled out his laptop and asked if I wanted to go watch the newest NSP video that hadn't been released yet. I wasn't at all that interested. We had just had sex for fuck's sake, but we watched it. He said, "You're the first one that's getting to see this." He sang along to the song. He talked about NSP. He ordered room service and fed me dessert. He divulged personal things about other YouTubers, particularly one very popular one that we were close with, saying fame had gotten to his head and Dan thought he was losing touch. Part of me wondered if Dan was talking about himself. He fell asleep away from me. I left in the morning. He didn't kiss me goodbye or touch me when we were outside of the hotel room. After that, the communication between us slowed down. We still messaged each other sometimes, but it came fewer and farther between. He would just say things like, "I'm so busy living my rockstar dreams." He never asked what was new with me or how I was doing. I'll be honest, I felt hurt, but at the same time, it didn't surprise me that this was how it was all turning out. I told myself I should have known better. I still believe I should have known better. I would try to initiate contact with him, but most of the time it went ignored. He would pop in on occasions to ask me to come out and visit him in LA. He had just bought a house and told me that he was excited to have a big shower with mirrors to fuck in, or a big bathtub or something like that. I don't remember. I never came to see him. I figured it would just lead to me getting used and feeling shitty, and we didn't really talk anymore, and I certainly didn't put any effort towards me on the friendship level. I asked him once what happened between us, and he said he forgets to reply. Accounts without evidence. Oh, so these were the accounts with evidence. I could try and read that. It's teeny. Dan Avidan says, "Yay, the album is one tasty classic. Also, this may seem forward, but I'd like to take you out on a date. So next time I'm in Redacted. Not sure what your life situation is, but if you're open to it, I think it would be a lot of fun." And then the response, "To be completely..." I cannot read this. Hold on. Oh yeah, technology. We have the technology chat. Isn't there a real danger here of assuming stuff as UK tabloids rest to make pedophile claims profitable? And lots of people were making claims about celebrities, even children's TV, who were gay and guilty by association. I think this is dangerous in assuming guilt. Oof, you have wrapped up a lot of stuff into there. I assume you're a big Dan Avidan fan. I mean, I wouldn't equate this with gay panic. I think that's pretty unfair. These are first-hand testimonies. I've said emphatically, and I stand behind this, that there isn't like a smoking gun yet. These are links by survivors and stories that they want read. But yeah, It's a whole lot of strange. Okay. I was like, I made it large, now I can't read it. To completely honest, even when I'm not sure what my life situation is, I'd love to hang. I think we'd have a lot of fun too. Haha, cool. I kind of know the feeling. Are you in that mysterious gray haze kind of a relationship? If so, I've been there and it's not exactly heaps of fun. Well, my best friend and I started a relationship a little over a year ago. Days, that's all that matters. I've been single for almost a year now. And it's been the happiest times of my life. Sometime next month, would you possibly be down for a road trip, meet there, redacted? I remember that. It's pretty unusual for me to do something like that. I've got lots of people trying to get into my life for the wrong reasons, but you just always seem cool. Oh, I believe it. I've actually thought about that before. I've never wanted to get some sort of wrong impression. And of course, I'm a fan of NSP. That's awesome. I think I will involuntarily pass out now, but I think I'd just like to say one more time. I think you're really fun, sexy, interesting, and cool. And I always have. Dan, you're making me blush. And just know that all of those things too. Have a great syntax game. Good night. I've enjoyed your birthday. Thanks for making it better. Last thing, here's my number. Feel free to text me anytime. I will. Same to you. Oh, I guess, yeah, it was on Facebook. That makes sense. We should wait for more evidence, but we should take accusations seriously. Absolutely. That's it. I mean, I'm not saying whether or not you have to make a verdict in this case. I'm saying that here's what happened. Here's the stories. Here's their accusations. You should believe all accusers in the sense that you should make an environment safe for them to come forward. Dan Avidan, grooming allegations explained, as Game Grumps host is under fire on Reddit. Internet personality Daniel Avidan has been accused of sexual misconduct for allegedly grooming an underage fan after screenshots of explicit texts were released. The 42-year-old co-hosts the YouTube gaming comedy channel Game Grumps, and he's also a musician and the lead singer for the band Ninja Sex Party. An anonymous woman posted a thread on Reddit on March 21st, which has gone viral, that allegedly contains screenshots of texts between Avidan and the woman who was underage at the time of the exchanges. And the subreddit Rant Grumps also features a video allegedly of Avidan in a hotel room in 2017, as well as screenshots of the alleged text conversations between the gamer and the victim that seemed to be sexual in nature, and also shows the accused trying to elicit explicit videos. The woman alleges that she was 17 at the time, Avidan was 34, when she first reached out to him in 2013. She claims that the text conversation between Avidan turned into sexts once she turned 18 and eventually led to her meeting him backstage at a Game Grumps live show where sexual activity occurred. After this encounter, the woman says Avidan stopped all communication with her. Newsweek has contacted Game Grumps for comment, and they haven't released a statement on any of this yet. I mean, yes, I am very interested to see what the statement is going to be in relation to all this. It's totally true. I don't want it to be true or to believe it after digging, especially checking Katie's play. I think you'd have to be in denial to imagine it. I've literally watched Game Grumps since the beginning. Ouch, poopa foofy. So you've probably had a very rough time at this. Messenger screenshots are easily shot, but the video is gross. Has it been confirmed that this video was sent to someone who was 17 at the time though? Because that's I guess the last piece of the puzzle that I would say, well, you would have to be able to establish that this video was sent to someone who happened to be 17 at the time and that the person was making it sexual, and or you'd have to establish that the person was doing it as part of this process of accused grooming, as in the person is doing it repeatedly. She was an adult, I believe. It dreamed me last night. Okay. Newsweek said, yes, the ultra-wiggling tabloid Smoking Gun wasn't the Daily Mail available. That's the thing. She was an adult. It seems like they were an adults, but he had been in contact with this person since they were a teenager. And there's a pattern of that, apparently. That's the other disturbing thing, right? Is that there's a pattern of Dan curating relationships with fans when they're underage and then turning them sexual as soon as they turn 18, which is super fucked up if true, right? Super fucked up. Like, don't fuck your fans. Don't do that. That's wrong. There's a parasocial relationship that's been formed, and I know everyone's like, well, that's just part of the rock star life, brah. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't think it should be. I think something is really fucked up in there. But anyways, rock and roll. And the other thing is that if you are curating relationships with underage kids, I mean, that's even more fucked up for the purposes of waiting. I mean, I think society has a big problem with this as well. Like, this is something that's always fun to joke about. Like, even the Quartering posted something the other day to his friend, to Count Dankula, where it's like, happy birth to your new daughter, Count Dankula. Start the timer, boys. And I was like, start the timer, boys? Jesus, that's fucked up. I was like, as soon as she hits, 16 in the UK, it's all gravy then, because the purpose of women is to be our fuck possessions. So start the timer, boys, like, and that's your friend. That's something you're tweeting to your buddy. That's like, hey man, yeah, how's it going? Well, I just had my first kid. Like, oh, cool, nice. Well, start the timer, boys. Hey, high five. All right, yeah, my daughter will be legal eventually, because that's what happens. That's with the passage of time. TMZ had a countdown timer when Kylie Jenner turned 18. Jesus. So there's other stories without verified information. I know you don't all believe this stuff coming out about Dan, but you won't believe this, but it's true. He's done this to so many girls. It's unbelievable. I'm glad everyone is willing to take things with a grain of salt and serious accusations, but I'm going to write this for all the women who are watching this play out. Dan flirted and messaged me when I was 21, almost 22. He was 38 at the time. He then ghosted me like he always does to girls and kept moving on. And this is what he does to friends too. Again, those accusations in and of themselves are really shitty behavior, but it's not the same as him doing it to 17-year-olds and then preying on them until they turn legal. He told me he wanted to build an empire with me and that he loved me. I mean, at the very least, the guy sounds like a complete and utter creep. Like, just, yeah, it's predatory behavior for sure. Like, over and over, like, I don't, like, if you're a rock star and people are literally like throwing themselves at you, you don't have to add these extra elements. Like, this is extra steps because you like the power dynamic this is giving you, right? Like, that's it. Like, people are already willing to have sex with you without attachment, connotations, ... But the fact that you have to go that extra mile and be like, by the way, I love you and we'll be together forever, right? There's some element of that you like, that power that it also gives you on top of everything. Next thing you know, he did the exact same thing to my friend. He told her he dumped me because I was too old. I was 30. Jesus, Dan, you fucking creep. Leave the ass in the sympathy account. But again, these are anonymous accusations on a Tumblr thread handed by a handful of different people, and these are anonymous accusations. These ones are less anonymous. They have, like, you know, text messages to back it up. It's like once the pile starts rising, you know. In my experience with him, was this the worst I could ever imagine? No. Is there a possibility that maybe Dan wasn't into me after the meeting? Of course. Do I think there's a more likely scenario that Dan is a fuckboy who does fuckboy things while wearing a sweet softboy disguise? Yes. Do I also think that a lot of Dan's fun little stories and jokes come across to friends that were never credited? Absolutely. It really doesn't sit right with me when people get away with an act. I think Dan has gotten away with an act for a very long time. Is this a good time to bring up Leo DiCaprio's 25-year-old requirement? Is that a thing he said? Was Leo like, hey, come on, the cutoff is 25. After that, I mean, you're practically a grandmother. You're literally dead, you know. In the olden days, women didn't really live often into their 30s because they would die during childbirth. So isn't that the cutoff? Isn't 25 an acceptable age that women should be considered as having no value to society?
This is awesome. I love it. I'd never gotten compliments from girls like that before.
That shit really does stick with you.
Yeah.
A girl of African American descent once in Philadelphia, she was like really forward. She was like, "You're beautiful. Do you have a girlfriend?" And I was like, "Oh," and I did at the time, and I was just like, "Oh, I want to say no," but I was like, "Yeah, I do, but thank you," and I never forgot. And then the girlfriend and I broke up like a week later, and I was like, "Why couldn't you have broken up with me before the fucking black girl liked me?" Because I've still never gotten to be with a black girl.
Oh.
And I've been told, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I've heard once you go black, you never go back.
I know that's true because I'm of a different descent, and it's once you go Jewish, there's a 40 to 45% chance that you never go back.
You know what? If everyone's still waiting for the verdict on this one, if you want to cancel Dan for just being a racist piece of shit, you got that one. That one's on a monetized video, so you can do that. You can have that for now. All right. While you're waiting for more accusations to roll on in, you got that one. You got that one. Hey, you can also look up on YouTube, because I'm not going to play it on my stream because I like doing this for a living and not getting my Twitch shut down. You should look up Game Grumps N-word compilation, because it's long and there's lots of examples, and there's soft A's and hard R's that they go back and forth. So there's that. You could always say, oh, that's the reason I don't like Dan Avidan and the Game Grumps, because of all the N-words and the racism. So there's that. The next day. I'm sure all of you were following the Dan Avidan story. If you're watching me or my channel from yesterday, we went over the accusation, plural, S. So if you didn't know, Game Grumps, the gaming channel, pretty shitty across the board, if I'm being honest. I'm sorry if a lot of you are super big Game Grumps fans, but it comes across as kind of like edgy, racist, shit. And it's not really my forte. However, Ninja Sex Party, Awesome. Great music. Fantastic. And I understand also why a lot of you probably have this kind of deeply set sadness whenever you hear like headlines of this kind, or you hear about your heroes doing super shitty stuff, because it's happened to me before. And I get it. I get A, denialism, or B, pushing back against it, because it was like, this person really affected me or helped me through some dark times. I understand every single part of that, okay? When I was discussing the Dan Avidan story yesterday, I wasn't discussing just one accusation. I was discussing the accusations, the gross, large pattern that he seems to have had of both contacting and or being contacted by fans, turning that or curating that into a sexual relationship, and then afterwards leaving them. Now, the whole hit and quit it stuff, I mean, it's like, it's shitty. It makes you a creep show, but it's like, it's totally legal. There's nothing to say outside of like, yeah, you suck. You just kind of sounds like you suck as a person, okay? But the curating or potentially grooming a minor to try and get them or entice them once they become of legal age is another level. It's another level. So abusing the parasocial relationship and your power, the power dynamic that you have from that, that's wrong. And that's still wrong. I'm sorry, Dan Avidan fans. I'm sorry, Ninja Sex Party fans. You can choose to believe that every single story and accusation has been a lie, that he hasn't actually done that and hasn't actually slept with a bunch of his fans, including ones that have tattoos of him, even though like his personal assistant / ex close friend / ex member of Game Grumps have said and called him a predator recently. As of yesterday, she tweeted on her Instagram story, if you didn't understand this, he's a predator, and my play, yes, was about him kind of shit. Okay, so that's all fucked up accusations, but you can choose to believe that all of those are lies. That's fine. That's well within your right. On the end of like, you know, believe survivors, trust survivors, once they start to pile up, once there's a lot of them, once there's like corroborating stories, once there's like, yeah, this person was at this XCon, once there's photos, once there's text messages, there's an overwhelming body of cataloged evidence that he has been doing this. But the but at the end of all this is that is not illegal. None of that is. And to suggest that it is legal is wrong. The accusation of grooming came into play once yesterday or 2 days ago on Sunday. Someone on Reddit made a post that showed and tried to sync up the fact that one of the people who he had contact with began when they were 17, turned sexual, and then they had consensual sex when they were 22. They've since deleted that entire tweet. So they've since doubled back and been like, oh, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said all this, blah, blah, blah. This was spurious of me to instigate. So that story not being true means that would absolve him of the accusation of grooming, essentially. Something I don't think the media has caught up to yet, by the way, because like the media is still like this one. I think is it March 23rd today? Yeah, so this one came out today. More allegations surface against Dan Avidan at Gamer Grumps. Game Grumps host Dan Avidan has come under fire for an alleged pattern of manipulative behavior and abuse of power. Dan Avidan, a host with the YouTube channel Game Grumps, has come under fire for manipulating fans for sex. Rumors surrounding his behavior have circulated for the past year, the most substantial claims coming from his ex-personal assistant, Katie Schwartz. That's the part to me that's like, well, this one is really damning, by the way, because this happened yesterday. Yesterday, she made her Instagram story, like, by the way, he's a predator. She describes Dan's behavior as predatory, using his status and power to approach fans, telling women he wants to cultivate a serious relationship with them, thereby making them feel special before sleeping with them and disappearing out of their lives. I mean, that's all shitty behavior, but it's not grooming. There's a big difference. That's just him being a creep rock star, like living the rock star life, right? That's what rock stars feel that they're entitled to do. Like, I've formed this parasocial relationship with strangers who don't know me, and now I'm going to use it to fuck every single one of them, you know? But there's a big difference between that and grooming. Avidan has alleged long-standing history of using fans for sex. However, the only current evidence of this behavior are non-verified screenshots of conversations between fans and Avidan. There's also a video featuring Dan's voice asking an unknown woman whether she would like to have sex with him in a bathtub. The recent allegation came 2 days ago, where a fan took to Reddit, Twitter, claiming that Dan Avidan groomed a 17-year-old before sleeping with them when they turned 22. With the available evidence, it does not seem that any sexually charged messages were sent prior to them being of legal age. The original poster has since come out on Twitter apologizing for the confusion it caused. Also, they're not recanting it. They're just saying that it was, people would have assumed that the person was 17. I thought everyone understood this. I thought everyone understood that, yeah, they started contact when she was younger, but the accusation is that when he turned 22, that's when they slept together. So it's perfectly legal, was kind of like the idea. I thought everyone understood that. But the grooming part of it was what everyone was like, well, this is really gross. This is like next level. The video doesn't prove anything about grooming. So far, it seems more like Dan using a groupie for sex. But yeah, and that's clearly what Dan does. The original post has since been deleted and the Twitter account was made private. However, chatter surrounding the issue persists. Defendants of Game Grumps claim that there's both insufficient evidence of sexual misconduct, and the claims put forward don't detail any crimes committed. It would also be interesting if Dan would comment on any of this. Like, I don't think Dan has made a statement yet, has he? Not either in either direction, being like, I like unequivocally deny all these charges, and or one of those yet another sad YouTube apology video, you know, I really fucked up. All my sponsors left. That's when I realized something was really fucked up. At this stage, it's unclear whether Dan has committed any crime, and those defending him seem to hone onto this fact. However, they fail to acknowledge the alleged abuse of power and pattern of manipulative behavior. Several women have come out detailing terrible experiences with the YouTuber, and that should not be taken lightly. This is where I stand on the whole thing, by the way. And I guess maybe this is me being a bit privileged because I'm not well, what the fuck, Ninja Sex Party privilege? I'm not a fan of theirs, so I have the privilege. I guess, yeah, technically that is, I am privileged in that I'm not a massive Game Grumps fan. But that's where I stand with something like this. So as an outsider looking in, having seen the whole situation, to me, if there is a pattern of manipulative behavior, multiple women have come out detailing terrible experiences of him emotionally abusing them and then, you know, sleeping with his fans. That's fucked up. Like, don't fuck your fans. Pretty simple, easy rule. Don't fuck your fans. Just across the board. That could solve so many people who are like, yeah, but there's all this like gray area in here. I don't know whether I should. No, just don't fuck your fans. And by the way, fans of people like Dan Avidan or Game Grumps or any of that, if someone like this comes into your DMs, if they pop up in your DMs and they start being like, hey, I think you're really cute. Where do you go to school or something like that? Take a screenshot of it and block them. Screenshot, block, and then go tell someone you trust. That should be the steps, all right? Take a screenshot of it, block them, and then go tell someone you trust. And then explain what happened to someone you trust. That could be a family member, that could be a very close friend or a teacher or something of that nature. But that should be the rule. And that should be what people teach you. Because there's so little room for this to turn into just an innocent little like, oh, he's just a really nice guy. He suddenly has a lot of interest in me since I turned 18, and he's been messaging me and my friends, and we're not in high school anymore, so it's cool, and he wants to meet up in another city or town and all this kind of stuff, right? Like, goddamn. I have a friend who met Dan and exchanged numbers. He used to text her when he was in town. She never met up with him because it was really fucking weird to her. Holy shit! Average scum. No way. First-hand story. Huh. Like Donkey and Leia is a great... Wait, what did Donkey do? No, not Donkey. You can't... Donkey... Fuck. I'm gonna wait to see. No, I don't even want to read this. That's not happening. No, Donkey is a beautiful boy. Okay, good. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God, we get one. We get one. Okay, we get one. Whew. All right, cool. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, you know, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like, just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our glorious gods, Xander Corvus and I'm Wrath, may you shower us with glory and smite our enemies. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we serve at your leisure, your grace. To our lords, Toefox, Bisexual Black Gamer, Jimothy K. Meeble Beeps Jr., Ryan Lubin, Trevor R., Jeffrey Lamb, Alexander Thaler, and Hans Josephine, we shall carry your banner high into the fields of battle. To our Knights of the Round Table, Timothy Hart, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophagic, Saren 42, Chronic de Hemphog, Gail Kotka, The Great Pudini, Bone Jenny, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, J. Fraser Cartwright, Thomas Barrington, Jimmy Bignuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chitoro, Gufalankius, Zach Christensen, Nicholas Marks, Yopi, Josh Mickelson, Melissa Murphy, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Constance Joyce Lacheris. We lift our glasses of ale and we salute you.